Well, hey guys, welcome to the studio, and it pains me to be making this video today about the Native Instruments Complete S88 Mk2 keyboard. Now, I picked this thing up at Sweetwater. It's not cheap. It seems to integrate very well with Native Instruments software, which I adore and love, which is why I bought this thing, but I can't use it the way it's intended. Let me walk you through it real fast so you can see the problem, and I'm going to tell you why. At this point, I just have to mark it as unworkable and move on with my life. If you've watched our videos, you've probably seen me from this angle before, and you may have noticed there's this 88 key controller back here. There it is. That's the S88 Mk2. What's it doing wrong? Well, I'll show you. This is a video I just shot today with the same problem that it's been having this whole time, and all the steps that we've gone through to fix it through researching on their website what to do, going to their forums and getting some great ideas from a lot of the members there, and eventually going over to customer support and running their diagnostic tool and going back and forth. This is what I'm looking at, and I apologize for the jumpy camera. Here's complete control, and this is open in my computer. Here you can see Alicia's keys. Now this is a sample library that has to come in through contact. Complete control requires contact. Okay, here's the S88. You can see Alicia's keys is listed. There it is. It really only does sample playback. There's the list of instruments. There's the load button. And I hit it, and the screen says busy. See software. Let's look at the software. The software says, loading issue, plugin not found. Let me explain to you the steps that we went through to try to fix this. Now, I was able to narrow this down. For the S88 to call up a sample library in complete control, again, remember it's a complete keyboard, it's the complete S88, it uses this exact software here, this complete control. It's very capable of loading their sample player called Contact. Let me show you. Instruments, Native Instruments. And there's the variety of things that I have listed from Native Instruments, including Contact. That's their sample playback library. Let's see if it loads. I'll click on this. Hey, Contact is loaded. Let me see if Alicia's keys is available. Well, I'll just go to View and Edit mode, and hey, here's all my Native Instruments sample libraries. This is quite handy. Let's see if Alicia's keys is on the list. Hey, there it is. And if I click Instruments, I can see, well, there's the sample library. Let me drag it over and see if it loads. Pa-da! There it is. It's completely playable. There's no problem with it. In other words, complete control, the mandatory software that must be used with that keyboard to have this kind of access, can see the sample player. It shows right up on their list. Once I load Contact, the sample player, it shows me all the content that I have loaded from Native Instruments and allows me to load it. And here's where the actual problem is. I'm going to try using the browser. I've shut down complete control. I've opened a new instance of it. Let's take a look. Here it is. I wonder if it sees Alicia's keys as an instrument. Let me pull this down. And this is from the browser. And haha, there she is. Da, 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 da. Now, I'll click on her, and it's showing me that's the list of sounds I would expect to be in this sample library. I'll pick one at random. Audience Small Studio, I'll double click it, and bum bum bum, loading issue, plugin not found. Now, evidently, there's a variety of things that could have caused this. It might not be looking at the correct file. So we had to straighten it out for the file paths, which you would expect. I've worked with plugins. This studio is not new to using plugins. I had to have their contact sample playback open and scan its library prior to this being able to find it. I did that. They also make recommendations on their website, like going into your C drive and under app data, removing certain things and letting it repopulate, and then uninstalling and then reinstalling the software, and then reopening it all again as standalone, and then letting it scan and double check that the paths are all right. And that's all information that's available on their website. I tried to get that to work. Nothing worked. So I went to the Native Instrument forums. Very helpful people. They asked me specific questions. These are just regular people like me. Very helpful. And they asked me to put up screenshots, which I did. And this went on for a little while, including one of the responders was actually a moderator from Native Instruments. And they looked at all of it and they were stumped. The paths were correct. The installation was done properly. It had been uninstalled and reinstalled, following exactly what they tell you if you have this problem on the Native Instruments website. Now, the moderator from Native Instruments that was responding to me in that thread said I should open a ticket. And this is now a couple weeks into me trying to manage it with some community help and getting nowhere and using the resources from Native Instruments, which sure worked. So I did. I opened a ticket. Now, they have this process that they want you to do certain things. They want you to run a diagnostic tool and then send it to them, which I did. They responded to that by saying, okay, you need to do a complete uninstall and reinstall, and they have recommendations of where you're allowed to put things on your computer or that type of thing. And when you're all done with that, rescan, run everything as a standalone, and it should work, but it didn't. Now, on their website, and as part of their downloader, the Native Access downloader, they say, we recommend you use the C drive specifically for certain things. But I want to show you this. On my computer, these are my drives. My C drive is my Windows drive. I've got 22 gigabytes free here. Not a ton of room, and I really don't like to put anything on that drive if I can avoid it. And I have plenty of room on other drives, including a 4 terabytes free over here, and plenty of room also on this SSD over here. Now, after following their instructions to a T, uninstalling, which is no small task when you're dealing with this many plugins and you're talking about 2 terabytes of raw data, uninstall it, reinstall it, run their diagnostic support tool, send it to them, they get around to looking at it, and they come back to you and say, yeah, you need to uninstall it and reinstall it with more things going on my C drive. I don't have a ton of room on my C drive, and I can't imagine in this day and age any software company requiring you to put things on your Windows drive. This went on and on. I tried to afford them every opportunity, and I'll tell you why. Number one, I actually like the company. I like the product. I love Native Instruments software. It's great. I rely on it heavily in my studio. But I did pay for this keyboard a lot of money, and it doesn't do the one thing it was designed to do. And I even tracked it down for them. The problem is in the Complete Control browser. It can, as you saw, easily load Contact, which can easily load any sample library I want. I must have explained that to them 3 or 4 times, I would guess, but they kept saying, uninstall everything, reinstall, and they'd invent some new path for me to do, and then I'd have to run my diagnostic tool again. And then my guy went on vacation, which, hey, he's allowed to have a vacation, right? He handed it off to one of his partners who got back to me, who started me back at square one again with the uninstalling and reinstalling. Now, there's one other thing. I did shoot a short video of 2 minutes, and I sent it to them, showing them exactly where this thing was misfiring, showing them that my paths were indeed correct, showing them that Ableton, my DAW, has no problem opening up the sample playback player, Contact. It can open up Alicia Keys. Even Complete Control, their own software, is fully capable of opening this. The problem is the browser function ignores that it's right there looking at it when you're looking right at it. I don't know if they watched the 2-minute video. I don't know because they're not responding to me on any level other than rinse, lather, repeat. Rinse, lather, repeat. Uninstall your stuff, install it where they tell you to do, run the diagnostic tool, and with that amount of data, and I can tell you, when you want to install that stuff, you got to chase some stuff down because it leaves all kinds of skeleton folders all over your system. 2 terabytes of data, how fast do you think you can reinstall that? So I came to a conclusion. I'm not happy with it, but here's where I stand. I give up. I give up. I know what I bill for in the studio here as an hourly rate. And I figure when I exceed the amount of hours at that pay rate that it would take to buy that thing, I have no choice but to zero it out. Does it work as a controller? Yeah, but I have no shortage of 88 key controllers in the studio. This is my 3rd one. I don't need another one. And the only reason I bought that keyboard is because I could go over to it, supposedly, very simply, use the browser, pull up some sounds, which it can do from other engines in Complete Control, like their synthesizers, like Reactor, no problem. FM8, no problem. But when it tries to pull up their sample playback engine, Contact, it fails. Now, that's the only reason I bought this thing, is so that I can go over there and not be running back and forth to my computer while I'm trying to do some production. And a large part of the library I rely on from Native Instruments is their sample playback stuff. Abbey Road drums, Stradivarius violin. I adore this stuff. And my main go-to piano, Alicia's Keys. And I can't use it from that keyboard. Now, I figured I was being pretty straightforward with their customer service reps. I said, look, I don't want to have a problem with this. I want to like it. And if you could just get together with me on a video conference, I have OBS software, I could show them, because I don't think they've watched the little video I sent them, the little 2-minute video showing it to them. I don't think they're even aware of what exactly issue I'm having. I think it seems to me like they just have a script. Thing not working. Uninstall and reinstall. Well, about the 3rd time that we did that, and actually four times, because they left me, I didn't realize the guy was going to go on vacation. He left me with a bulk of this stuff on my C drive. I was only able to run 2 of their products there, and he left. I had to uninstall that and reinstall it, so, because my studio is still functioning here. I tried to give them every opportunity. I've worked every potential avenue to try to fix this out. It's not actually something, I don't think, that has to even do with the installation. And here's how I know. Because it loads in Ableton. It loads manually in Complete Control. I can bring up Contact as a standalone. I can bring it up in Ableton. Everything works until I try to use the browser for Contact. The browser works for all their other stuff like FM8, Massive, Reactor. It's just a hiccup in that one part of the problem. And so that really rules out, is it a problem with the location of where it is on whatever drive? Because all of those things are coming from the exact same folder on my hard drives. So here's my recommendation. Skip it. Don't buy it. Don't waste your money. Native Instruments libraries, I have the Ultimate Collector's Edition. It's wonderful. I rely on it. I've built a lot of what this studio does, especially since I got that about 6 months ago. My production has really, really improved. The S88, and you've seen the videos where there's plastic rattling and the screen cuts out and this problem and that problem, and I kind of ignored all that and went ahead and bought one of them anyway. And then when it doesn't work, I figured I could rely on their website to get me through it, or their forums and their community with great people in it. And they were all stumped looking at screenshots. Over to their customer support team, which, I mean, if they're not running a script that says, yeah, you have to uninstall it and reinstall it, if they're not running that script, I don't know what they're doing. And I've offered them several times to just get together with me on a Zoom call. Something, so I could show it to them. They obviously have ignored the video I sent them. Maybe they just don't have time. Maybe they're overworked. Maybe it's a problem with Native Instruments not affording their employees enough time to actually read a response from one of their buyers, or to look at a 2-minute video to see what it is that the problem is. Me personally, I think the software is designed wrong. I don't think it works. I think they need to fix it and update it. Anyway, for now, that's how it goes. And I'll tell you, even if they get back to me and go, oh, we looked into your problem after seeing your video and came up with the solution, whatever it is, you know what? At this point, I've already got so many hours into trying to fix this that if I were to pay myself my hourly rate for the amount of hours that I put into trying to fix this, it's still a 0. 0. And that's what I'll give it. Native Instruments, S88, Mk2. I give it a 0. Anyway, we got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it.